Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Pattern Recognition 101, an introduction to KnowVera research. Today's presenters are Stephen Kalayjian, Chief Market Strategist and co-founder of KnowVera, and Harry Temkin, Chief Information Officer at DriveWealth Technologies. Welcome, Stephen and Harry.
Thanks, Tom. Great to be here.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to host you. My name is Tom Hartle. I am CQG's Director of Product Training. I will be your host and moderator today. Before we get started, I want to mention a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them into the Q&A section window at any time. We'll have Stephen and Harry answer the questions at the end of this presentation. If you're viewing the presentation in full screen mode, you can find Q&A in the WebEx toolbar at the top of your screen in the drop-down menu on the far right. If you're having any sound issues, please contact the host via WebEx chat. We'll be recording today's webinar, and it will be posted within 48 hours to the events section on news.cqg.com. All registered attendees will receive an email with a link to the recording. Now, it's my pleasure to turn the webinar over to Stephen and Harry. Let's start out with the two of you telling the attendees some of your history.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. Steve, why don't you take it away?
Sure. Thank you, everybody. My name is Stephen Kalayjian, and I've been in the trading world for well over 34 years. I started as clerks on 4 different exchanges, and then became a member on the New York Stock Exchange, eventually then moving upstairs to a small little prop firm, and basically just traded there for about 10 years or so. And during that time period, didn't have a losing month or a losing year for about close to 10 years, and traded nearly 2 billion shares during that time period. Was asked to run a significant amount of money by very, very big hedge funds along the way. Decided that I needed to really build technology for what they wanted me to do. My style of trading during those 10 years was day trading, and something I really enjoyed, trading during the day and then at the end of the day being completely flat. And then basically now looking at other ways of trading, running a portfolio and running a long short pad with overnight positions. And with that, I decided that I wanted to take a year of my life off and go and research and try to build some technology that helped me identify trends and patterns in the market. Well, that 1 year went pretty quickly, I have to say. And it took me 8 years to complete the software that I built over the span of those 8 years. After the 8 years were spent, during that time period, I was consulting a lot of big prop and hedge funds along the way, using my signals and using my dynamic software. And then I formulated a company called KnowVera. And KnowVera is a company that I created here with Harry. And we build proprietary software for traders, whether you're day trading, intermediate-term trading, and or long-term investing, and whether you trade currencies, commodities, and equities. And I've traded all. I've traded options, bonds, currencies, commodities, and equities, as I stated.
All right, awesome, Steve. Thanks. I've been in the industry over 25 years myself, building financial information systems pretty much all my life. Spent many years at Bridge in charge of all the Bridge Station platform, Bridge Feed, Bridge Channel, went off to Reuters, ran the global equities business for Reuters for many years, running many of the equity platforms there, including Icon. And then partnered up with Steve, who happened to be a client of mine for almost all of those years, going back to Bridge to help build this software that you're going to see today. And now partnered up with DriveWealth Technologies, we offer the Pattern Recognition 101 software through the educational platform. And if we turn to the next page here, you'll see that we've now also partnered up with CQG to make this available through the CQG API. And that's pretty significant because it enables you to access all of the same real-time and historical data that you pull from CQG today, and only still paying that one set of exchange fees. So obviously the CQG platform being known for its commodities and its currencies, and now also bringing on board equities and being able to trade equities through DriveWealth, you have an amazing historical set and real-time data set to be used in conjunction with Pattern 101. So again, you're going to be able to trade all 3 asset classes, through the CQG platform. And the key, again, to the pattern recognition software is that it is continuously feeding you with trading signals throughout the day. And those signals are not only intraday signals for those of you who trade intraday, but also it provides longer-term signals for the longer-term investor. So with that, let me take a second and just talk about what you get with the pattern recognition software. It's more than just a software set, actually. Now, today we're going to spend a good amount of the time taking you through the software, showing you in real time. Today's been a great day. We've had, obviously a pretty big uptrend through most of the day. The market just broke here at the end of the day, and you're going to see how well our software fared on multiple symbols today, whether it's the E-mini futures, the NASDAQ futures. We had some great trades on all of those, crude oil, as well as currencies. So we're going to show a yen trade today, lots of different stuff to show you how easy it is to use our software. And there's really two pieces to the software. There's multiple pieces. The first is that it actually also comes with an education course that Steve has built himself, an online video education course, again, available through DriveWealth Education or Pattern Recognition 101. And that's for those of you that really want the deep dive, that you really want to understand how to use all the indicators that Steve's going to show you today. Of course, for those of you that just want to kind of be told what to do, you're going to see how effective the software is in doing that as well. Steve also does a series of live educational webinars that he hosts sometimes during the trading day itself or at night to take you through, patterns that he's seeing and how to use the software again. But ultimately, the key to the software is, what we're going to show you, the live charting application with the Signal service. It is available in different languages. We've recently launched it in Chinese, and it's going to be coming out in Spanish as well. And also it gives you access to Steve's daily newsletters that he puts out each day, sort of going over what he sees in the market, overall patterns in the market on the major indexes and the major commodities and currencies, and an end-of-month newsletter as well, and so forth. So with that, let's go to the next page just for a second to give you an overview. I'm going to turn it over to Steve of what we're going to show you today in terms of our real-time charting service.
Right, thanks, Harry. So as a trader, one of the number one words that I always preach to everybody is consistency. And what you want with consistency is to be able to be on the right side of the market. And again, like I stated, it took me 8 years of my life to develop the software that we're going to show you here today. And without any guesswork, with using the software, it was important to me to identify trends in the market and or reversals in the market, whether it's currencies, commodities, and their equities, and then identify the patterns using the indicators I created on the software to identify the patterns within each trend and or reversal. So that's really important. Again, as Harry stated, there are those who just maybe just want the signals, but then there are those who probably want to, like Harry stated, go deeper into the software, understand how to use it, and then use it again on their own in many ways that I explain during the classes I teach, mostly during the Tokyo session at night, which are recorded, so you don't have to really attend. You can just hit record and play it back at any given time. Again, whether you're day trading, intermediate term trading, or being a long-term investor, again, it's really about being on the right side of the market. And I take a significant amount of pride and passion in being right in my trades and in my calls. And with that, the software gives me that advantage to have the confidence to be able to see right before my eyes what I'm looking at. So, for example, all the indicators that you're seeing on the chart right now.
Let me switch over to that so we can show people those indicators. All right, now
okay. So we're looking at the S&P futures here, without getting into so much detail, because we want to utilize our time wisely here today. The data coming in here is CQG data, looking at the E-minis, looking at the 5-minute and the 15-minute time frame. I use multiple time frames when I trade, using the 5-minute time frame for the entry points. And as Harry will show you, these are the arrows where the buy signals came in and the sell signal at the end of the day. Pretty great day on the calls on the S&P futures and on the overall signals. But again, looking at the indicators, all tweaked here, and my own proprietary trend algorithm, my own proprietary stochastics. And what's important is how I teach everybody how to use the indicators in conjunction with each other, and how, for example, I talk about divergence patterns and identifying trends in the marketplace. But more importantly, as the course goes along and as I get more deeper and deeper, I have calculated numbers, everything's to the right. And basically, for example, if I was short S&Ps here at 97.25, I would know that at 98, 99 would be my stop where my trend algorithm would reverse. So again, everything is calculated for you, and this is what I teach in the course. But more so, again, there are people who just want the signals and people who want to go deeper into the education and to really get acclimated into the course.
All right, so let me just take a second and talk about how we actually come up with the signals that you see on the chart here and what's included in the pattern recognition software. So obviously, Steve just talked about the core element, which is the real-time charts that you see. Now, these charts are built specifically for Steve's indicators. You're not going to find any other indicators available, so it's pretty much preset and locked into exactly what you see, because this is how he sees the market. It's the conjunction of his unique indicators. Now, you might say, well, I see the MACD and the DMI and the stochastic. Each one of these, although it says MACD, it is, of course, a MACD, but it has been, sort of significantly changed in terms of its mathematical construct, in terms of the weightings. There's Steve's custom weightings in there, not disclosed, obviously, along with DMI, his custom stochastic, and at the bottom is a proprietary indicator constructed by Steve over the course of the years that's called the KnowVera Trend Channel. Now, ultimately, the key is how all these indicators line up, right? What position they're in, what direction they're heading in, and how they're lined up between the short time frame and the longer time frame. Now, our signal service that I'm going to get into in a moment, we provide 5 different combinations of time frames, okay? So our shortest combination is a 3 and a 15-minute time frame. Our next combination is a 5 and a 15-minute time frame. We move to upwards to a 15-minute and hourly time frame, and then we work up into even the longer time frames where we get into hourly and daily, and then eventually daily and weekly for the long-term investor. So again, it's always a combination of 2 time frames. As Steve said, we use the shorter time frame for the entry, but we want our longer time frame to be somewhat aligned in terms of the way the indicators are positioned to give us an entry signal. Now, ultimately, to make it easy for one to understand the position or the condition of the indicators, we built, again, another proprietary indicator that we call the KnowVera score. Now, the KnowVera score is the number that you see up here calculated in real time. Right now, it's an 06. Now, there are 2 numbers in that score. The first number represents a long score. In other words, how much weight is being applied to whether we want to be long the instrument. And then on the other side is the short score. So how much weight is being applied from all of the indicators, indicating we want to be more on the short side of the market than the long side of the market. The way that we derive those scores is by looking at each indicator's condition. What is its position and which way is its direction? So for example, the MACD is below the signal line and it is negative. Okay, it is trying to turn positive right now, not yet. So it is falling below the signal line. That adds a couple of points to the short side of the calculation. And again, each indicator provides a certain amount of score or weight. Some can be up to 2 points, some can be up to 5 points, that help us identify which side of the market we want to be on. And ultimately, through the course, you would recognize that by certain numbers that you see, ultimately you know exactly the position and condition of each of the indicators. I almost don't even have to look at the chart. Okay, so for example, if we were to look at something that had an 010, and actually I'll just come to the heat map to show you that we monitor, over 1,000, 1,200 instruments at any given time across equities, currencies, and commodities to help us understand which securities are sort of set up to give us signals. The heat map gives us an idea of when all of the indicators are aligned to potentially give us an entry signal. Now, as an example, if we take SPG, right, Simon Property Group, that has an O10 right now on the 3-minute. And an O10 means that ultimately the MACD is negative. We have strong negative DM, or we have strong DMI negative. We have our trend channel, which is orange, also significantly negative, but yet we're overbought on the stochastics. So we have all of the weight, that 10 on the short side, and a 0 on the long side means that that's, in most cases, identifying a bear flag, okay? So we use the heat map as a way with that proprietary score system to help us look at when things are potentially setting up to give us a signal. Now, ultimately, I just spent a good amount of time talking about the different indicators and the positions they're in. And as we said, if you want that in-depth analysis, how do we actually do all of these things and what to look for and identify, that's part of the educational class. But we have a big demand for, hey, listen, if I have your charts up, ultimately, can you just tell me when the entries occur? When do the signals happen? And of course, that's the real power in the system. So the first thing I want to show you is the preliminary piece, the heat map piece as we call it, which is showing those instruments that are in sort of a setup condition, okay? We call that the heat map. It's almost like a precursor. But ultimately then, we have the actual signal service, and there are two different levels of the signal service. Now, the first one here on the right-hand side, my apologies, I have it currently filtered just on currencies. So ultimately, if you go to the portfolio section, you will see that you can filter on any of the major equity sectors. You can filter on active, sort of intraday trading vehicles, okay? You can filter on active ETFs, currencies, and commodities. And at the moment, I just have currencies in there. Now, what happens is, when all of our scores line up in a certain way, and again, we're not going to give away the special or secret sauce, but when they all line up in a certain way, we then indicate to you in real time that we have either a buy or a sell signal. And so here you can see right now the trading style is set to scout mode, which is the shortest of our time frames, right? That's an intraday signal using 3-minute and 5-minute, 3-minute and 15-minute time frames. Now, one of the ones that we wanted to show you today, and I'll let Steve jump in here, was US dollar yen. Now, we really could pick any of these. As you can see, even on Aussie Swiss, we had two phenomenal buy signals today. But I want you to recognize that, obviously we had a strong trend today, mostly upwards throughout the beginning, a little chop in the morning, and then we had a reversal at the end of the day. And I want to show you how we caught all of those. And I'm the first one to tell you, no signal service is 100% perfect, right? If I had a crystal ball, then we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I mean, look, we trade these signals, and we know that our signals have at least an 80% effective rate. That's what our history shows. That's what our trading shows. And even today, in the morning, obviously today you have EIA numbers, you have crude inventories caused, a little bit of choppiness in the market today. You're going to get some chop, and some of those signals aren't necessarily going to work out as well as the ones that we had in the afternoon. The key is that when you trade all these signals, overall, you've got a very good track and a win-loss ratio that is very, very high. So let me take a second and get into US dollar JP yen here. And I'll have Steve, jump in here a second and sort of give you his eval on this. And again, this is 3- and 15-minute time frame. You want the 5-minute? Okay, no problem. So we have signals on both.
So this morning, I basically, around 10:10 in the morning, I saw the dollar yen on the 15-minute time frame. And the one thing that I saw about dollar yen is the significant strength. If you can see how these patterns were set up from early overnight in the European session, and then basically right here, probably around 10 o'clock in the morning, I saw this consolidation pattern. And I basically, at the time, I tweeted out and I said to many followers that I stated that, dollar yen looks very strong as long as it holds above the 109.03 level, and then look for a move upward. And we saw how dollar yen exploded here throughout the day. Now, I would not have been able to realize that if I didn't look at my proprietary trend algorithm, which gave me the ability to identify being on the right side of the market and understanding that I'm not looking to short this, but I'm looking for pullbacks on the 5-minute time frame for entries, which is exactly what the system called here a number of times, but also using the software and in the educational classes, I also show you ways that you can monetize even more opportunities.
Right, now if you look at, this is a little bit of a longer time frame on the 5-minute, but also looking at the 3-minute, you will see multiple opportunities came today to entry on US dollar yen here. You'll notice again, in conjunction, the 15-minute time frame also had some significant sells last night and early in the morning, and then also caught, obviously, a significant upward trend here. Now, the 15-minute works against itself on a longer time frame, right? The 15-minute goes up against the hourly time frame. 15 minutes. So let's go back to the signal service for a second. And again, you can see exactly how many signals are being generated here. And again, this is all signals across all time frames just for currencies. And again, if we were to turn off and just go to scalp, right, now this case is just all 3-minute and 15-minute combinations, you see that it affords you a multitude of opportunities throughout the day. Now you can filter, we just actually are in QA right now in enabling you to filter down to the symbol level, as well as also actually give it an alert, a sound alert. So now you can set up these signal windows so they are specific to an exact range of instruments, as well as giving you a specific sound alert when that particular instrument has either a buy or a sell signal. Now you can have multiple signal windows open, not just the one, and as you can see by the color here, they're linked to, again, a specific set of charts. So simply clicking on, let's say, the Canadian dollar, you can see that it immediately launches the proper chart time frame, in this case, the 3 and the 15. Okay? So I can go back to our portfolios again, and I can actually say that I wanted to show all portfolios, and you'll see the number of signals that we get in any given day. I mean, today it was over 6,000 buy signals combined, along with over 4,600 sell signals. And again, this is on over 1,200 instruments, so you can imagine it's quite a large universe, and not everybody's going to trade that universe, but that's why we give you the ability to filter it down to exactly what you trade and across the time frames that you trade. So here at the end of the day, again, we have a series of commodity calls, including equities here, and some ETFs in the window. So again, you can pick and choose exactly which ones that you want to trade. Now, let's just take a look at a couple of other ones that we had today. If we take a look at the E-minis here for a second, again, you'll see that it gave significant buying opportunities, both on nice moves up as well as when it pulled back, giving an additional arrow and getting these nice long moves all the way up. And then, of course, it caught that downward trend. I mean, it takes our system, in terms of the way the math works, it does take it a little bit of time for the math to kick in and give that sell signal. So you're not always going to get an exact reversal point here, where obviously this was a good, I think, 7-handle move at this point, but clearly getting an arrow here still was a pretty significant move on the downside in this one particular bar, trading all the way down to a low, I think, of 5.5. So the system does afford you multiple opportunities, throughout the day on many, many instruments, whether it be equities, futures, or currencies. Let me just take a second here. I see, will there be a replay? I missed the beginning. Thank you, Tom. You actually answered that question for me. I didn't see it there. So yes, there will be a replay. So no worries if you missed the beginning. Actually, most of the core of what we're doing has been in just, the last probably 15 minutes. The beginning was a little bit of an intro. One of the things that I want to show you is the other set of signals that we provide. So this one actually dubbed the Kalayjian signal. So these are, again, one of Steve's proprietary signals, and I'll let him talk about this a little bit because, for Steve, we had a lot of requests where not only obviously would we do intraday because we obviously have a lot of intraday traders, and, ultimately what the system was truly built for. But we had a lot of requests for, can you help us when you see the market beginning to make a turn, right? Or, what's your expectation at a long-term, on a long-term time frame, when you expect to see, which securities are making that turn, which ones are in a long trend or just switching trends, and how do I get into those securities at the longer term time frame? So let's just talk about the
sure.
signals.
So thanks, Harry. So these signals are signals that I spent many years researching and trading and actually forward testing. And what I found what I love about my signals that I created here is the old phrase is that you want to swim with the tide, not against the tide. And so when I developed these signals, it was more or less when pretty much all the universes of the indicators that I have are aligned in such a positive way or a negative way, whatever the trend is, and where all the forces are going with that trend. And to me, that's the most important thing, to where I want to be, it's not about momentum or volume, it's really about when everything lines up. During the courses that I teach in the education, I also talk about correlation patterns and studies that are between the continuous contract and the exchange-traded funds. But again, these are part of the signals that are in here that are very powerful and strong. But if it's gold stocks, or if it's biotech or just exchange-traded funds, these signals are very powerful because basically they're behind the scenes that you and I can't see because of all the data coming in. The calculations coming in are when everything is pretty much set up, and then you'll get a strong buy or a strong sell signal.
All right, so one of the things that you'll notice here is, and you'll see the arrow here on COF, and obviously a pretty significant arrow on the daily, already up significantly from the 69.77 first entry point. One of the things we want to make note is that this is a new signal that we recently just launched. So you're not going to see an arrow all the way back in time at the moment, just simply because of the way the system is constructed in its calculations. So it just started this service a couple of weeks back. So there would have been arrows on some of these major reversals on the daily basis. Now we obviously have the arrows in there with this new signal service that we just launched as part of the product. And it's unique because, as you can see, it's not only giving you the signal, but it's also giving you multiple entry points as well as the stop. So it's allowing you to give you the ability to have a good average in terms of being able, as the stock pulls in on a signal, Steve additionally gives you those additional entry points, and then again, using the trend channel as a stopping point. If, let's say the signal doesn't work, you know exactly what your risk is going to be in terms of when it would indicate for you to come out of the security.
Right.
So again, this also works across all instruments, not just equities. In this case, I'm filtered on equities. Which one do you want to pull up?
Monster. So we got that short 2 days ago.
Right. So here again, you're looking at the signal on Monster here. As I want to make note, going back in time on some of these significant reversals, you would have seen arrows back historically in time. And now as we go forward and the system is collecting more and more data, you're going to start to see the arrows, on the dailies. We obviously have lots of data on the intraday stuff. So what you get in the service, okay, is again, if you want a deep dive, you can have that from Steve. He does the live webinars. There's a video course, a very extensive video course that is, well over 50 videos that takes you through, the indicators and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, if you just want to know when the indicators are lined up and it's giving you the entry points, that's where the signal service comes in and the heat maps come in to give you the arrows on the screen. So you want to take a look at, show them some other trades we had in gold today?
Gold was great. We showed them the dollar yen. The euro, we had great shorts, obviously, the inverse. Gold was very strong. The signals were today.
Oh, hold on one second. even the 3 minutes killer. So you might ask, you know, I mean, Steve likes to trade the 5-minute. We've had a lot of clients ask us about the 3-minute, which is just a little bit faster, obviously, than the 5-minute. But, you know, again, a lot of what we do is based on, you know, the feedback that we get from our clients and our experiences in using the software. Now, questions come in. I see entry points. What about exits? Sorry if you just haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so you want to talk about exits, Steve?
Well, basically when the point of entry comes in, what I do is, again, I use my trend channel as a reversal in the stop price. So if you look at gold on the first, do you have the mouse? On the first bar there, I would then, if I did get short gold at that low was 1250. To say I sold it at 1250.90 or 1250.70, then click at the bottom. My reversal on my trend channel. I would look then at my my reversal on my trend channel, which would be the 1250, about 1252.80. About $2 higher would be my stop.
And what about your targets, though? What do you look for in
normally,
a 5-minute trade?
Well, normally what my research has shown me that when I get signals of this magnitude, that I'm in the trade anywhere from 1 to 6 bars. Again, when I look at a 5-minute time frame, whether it's 1 minute up to as much as up to 30 minutes. So normally that when you look at a 3-minute and or a 5-minute time frame, the trade should last anywhere within the 1 to 30 minute time period.
Any specific target, though, and when you get a big gap down like this, you know, on a signal?
No, I would just, like, if I got short the gold here, I would just be constantly raising my stop, lowering my stop price.
Right. You're okay. So I mean, yeah, again, I mean, a lot of, you know, I think we don't specifically put exits. You know, the one thing that we do always is the risk number, right? So exits are traditionally come down, again, to, you know, there's different styles of exits, how much you're looking for in a particular trade.
Yeah, but one of the things I do teach during the course is I teach people once they're in the trade, I explain divergences and what I'm looking for, how to get out of the position. Looking at to see if the 15 minutes stochastics is rolling over and the 5-minute time frame is turning up, which would be a negative divergence against the 5 and the 15. So there are things that I talk about during the course that once a position is established, then I explain to people during the course how I look to get out or exit the position, or you know, based on looking at the software.
Hopefully that answered that question that just came in. Let me just see if there was an update there. Just that it's being re-recorded. Okay, very good. So again, I just want to take a moment to talk about the filtering logic and the number of portfolios and the trading styles. So right here, I've got it locked into scalp, which is 3 and 15. And again, we could pick any one of these. I mean, if we went back in time, obviously these are all signals that are coming pretty late right now in real time. So you can see a bunch of futures that are coming in here. And, you know, with multiple hits on this one. You want soybeans?
Yeah, it's been huge.
Okay. Soy. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Sometimes the webinar interferes with...
well, even look at the coffee moves. Pretty...
Just wait a second. I got to... Hang on, guys, 1 second. I just sometimes the webinar slows down the chart process, so let me just refire it real fast. All right.
Well, while you're doing that, Harry, we have another question I can give to you.
Yeah, sure, please do.
The question is about any guidance on position sizing from the software.
I mean, Steve, you want to go ahead? You know, the positions, I mean, it depends.
Yeah, I mean,
we enter, just why don't you talk a little bit about how we do entries into some of those trades and the size and the risk that you know.
So, right. So, for example, if I'm looking to, depending again the individual's tolerance, if they're day trading, intermediate term trading, or long term investing, if I'll just talk about intraday trading. You know, for example, if it depends on what instruments you're going to, there's a lot of factors to ask, you know, whether you're trading one instrument, if you're trading S&P's crude, gold, 30-year bond futures, soybeans, corn. You know, it really depends on, you know, on how many instruments you're trading, and if you want to take all the signals that are being thrown out, or are you looking to just concentrate on one instrument. So, for example, on S&P futures, we like to trade, when I get a signal, we like to start with a 10 lot and then keep another 20 or 30 in our pocket. You know, if it pulls in a little bit more and we scale in a little bit more. And again, it's really, you know, I know people who trade a 1 lot. I know people who trade 50s and 100 lots. So it's really up to the individual, Tom.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any more questions.
No, I don't see any more questions. I don't think there are any more current questions. I was busy getting that taken care of. Have you finished the webinar presentation then? Is this?
Well, just like to tell you, you ever heard of Murphy's Law, everybody? So I seem to have a little bit of a snafu there. Why it went down is because by accident, we decided that we were going to upgrade to those new signal services, the new sound service, right in the middle of my webinar. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. I'm going to have a conversation with my CTO right after this, right? But it actually is the reason why it stopped is because we're after market hours, obviously, on equities, and we are adding the sound service as we discussed in the webinar and the filtering logic to be able to look at specific symbols and have it alert you to that. Now,
okay.
But the last thing that I want to show you guys, talk about is, Tom, can you see the PowerPoint again?
Yes.
All right, great. So the last thing I just want to mention is that, again, a partnership between KnowVera, DriveWealth, and also DirectFX and obviously CQG to make available true multi-asset trading on the CQG platform. So one of the versions of CQG, titled CQG1, enables you to trade all 3 asset classes simultaneously with a single sign-up process. Again, the software will work with any version of CQG, so I just want to make that clear. You don't have to, switch over to a special version of CQG for it to work with the CQG web API. But if you want to trade all 3 asset classes through a single connection, and using the latter functionality in conjunction with the KnowVera software, you can easily do that again using the CQG API. And again, if you have interest in the software, please come visit us either through DriveWealth EDU site at DriveWealth or at patternrecognition101.com. And again, we really appreciate the opportunity to present to the CQG customer base. Thanks so much, Tom.
Our pleasure, Harry. Thank you very much, Stephen and Harry. This concludes our webinar. And as I mentioned at the start, the webinar was recorded, and all registered attendees will receive a link to the recording via email. Thank you again, Stephen. Thank you, Harry. Thank you all the attendees, and I hope you found the webinar very informational. Thank you.
Oh, wait, hold on, Tom. So there was a question about cost. We're happy to address that real quick. So the cost of the software is just shy of $200, basically, $197. And again, that's through patternrecognition101.com.
Per month?
Per month, yes.
Okay. Great. Okay, again, thank you, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed this very good webinar. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Have a great night.
Have a great night.